Hey everybody, welcome to my typical Friday night looking at some Blu-rays on the internet. I'm just kidding. Normally I wouldn't be just perusing and surfing the web looking for deals on a Friday night. Normally I'd be watching a movie or working on a video, although I guess this is kind of like working on a video. It is filming a video. Normally I'd be editing on a Friday. But I don't have anything filmed right now, and there's a Blu-ray sale, or as I learned just recently, two Blu-ray sales that I want to take a look at tonight. So grab your cup of tea. Lisa needs braces. And sit back and relax as I surf through the Kino Lorber sales. So I was looking at these yesterday. I started looking on my phone, and I was like, wow, these are really cheap. These are like $5 Blu-rays. I heard there was a sale. These are good deals. And then I was like, I need a better way of looking at these. So I borrowed Nancy's laptop and I opened up the sale on her computer, and all of the titles were different and the prices were a little bit higher. And what I found out is that they have two separate sales, I guess. They have a While Supplies Last sale, and then they have the March Madness 2021 sale, which actually is going to be ending on April 5th or 4th, one of those two. So this sale actually has quite a bit of life left in it. I think I'm already a week late, so if you're like me and you're running late, you have plenty of time to check it out, and that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. So let's start with the While Supplies Last sale, just because there are less items in here, and something that makes me nervous, or not nervous really, but I'm just wondering and curious. In a Kino Lorber While Supplies Last sale, is this a sale that is basically always live, and it's just whenever they have out-of-print titles, they just dump them into this sale section? Because if so, that's kind of concerning, because it seems like there are some pretty good titles in here. From what I saw yesterday, River's Edge was in here, and now the Blu-ray is going for $45 new on Amazon, and it's not even available on Kino's website anymore, which is really disappointing, by the way. One of the few Kino Lorber films that I own less than 10, that I've watched, is River's Edge, and it's a fantastic film. It's kind of like a blend of Stand By Me and Twin Peaks. It came out in the mid-'80s and stars Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, and Kristen Glover. It's a really moody, interesting film about the murder of a friend and how this small group of friends from this town are dealing with it. It's a really interesting film, and I really enjoyed it, and I wish I could recommend it for this sale, but it looks like it's gone, so that's a goddamn shame. It really is. It's a great film. So like I said, I kind of looked through these yesterday a little bit, and looking at all of these films, I hardly know what they are. Like, it seems like Kino Lorber, they do pick up a couple of like popular cult films. Obviously, Mad Max 4K was a recent announcement for them. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but it seems like they dabble in everything from like forgotten genre films from the 50s and 60s to like really mediocre comedies from the 80s and 90s, and newer foreign films and westerns and action exploitation films. Like, it seems like they do everything. I really don't know what I'm in for with a lot of these releases, because out of the films that I have, they're more modern. Like, I have Jim Jarmusch's Broken Flowers. I have Deranged, which is the story of I think it's Ed Gein, the actual Texas Chainsaw Massacre man in Wisconsin. I have that film. I have some of the horror stuff, because you might know I'm a big horror guy. I need to take a sip of my tea. I've been holding it like I'm about to sip it. But anyways, let's just get into this, because we have a lot to go through. So looking at the first page here, the thing is, these covers are very intriguing. They look almost like they're the original posters for the films, which is pretty cool. I'm assuming that most of them are. This one right off the bat catches my eye, though. Stars Robert Mitchum and Ellen Burstyn. I think that's how you say her name. She's in Requiem for a Dream. She's fantastic in that. Robert Mitchum I recently watched in goddamn, what is that called? Night of the Hunter. I did a Criterion marathon and reviewed that film. The thing is, with a lot of these movies, I don't know what they are, but there are major recognizable leads in these films, like Gina Davis in this Angie movie. They just seem like they have this collection of films that have stars in them that weren't like really remembered throughout time. Like, I'm curious about this one, Blown Away, Jeff Bridges and Tommy Lee Jones. It's got a pretty sweet cover, but I've never heard of this film. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to add a bunch of these items to the cart, kind of like in my previous Criterion shopping video, and then once I'm done going through the list, I'll stop filming. I'll look through, see what these films have on Letterboxd, see how their Blu-ray transfers are and everything on Blu-ray.com, and then make a decision on my own about which ones I'll actually buy. So I'll probably add a lot to the cart, but I doubt I'll even buy half of them. We'll just see what happens, but let's keep moving. And I wish I could throw out recommendations in this video, but I mean, honestly, I just don't have enough to say about any of these films because most of them I don't know what they are. I'm interested in this one. Happy birthday to Michael Caine. I think he turned 88 years old today. This is another cover that I really enjoy. It looks like an action film. I'll add it to the cart. Jerry Lewis, Don't Give Up the Ship. I really, really love Jerry Lewis in The King of Comedy. I know he is a classic comedian from the probably 40s, 50s, and 60s and onward. Very iconic comedian. But the thing is, I've never seen any of his comedy. I've only seen him in The King of Comedy. And I love him in that film, and I love the film in general. So I feel like because I like him in that film, even though he isn't funny in it, I should really look into some of his actual work in the field of comedy. So I'll just add that to the cart and see what people have to say about it. These film noir box sets look pretty cool. I think that volume 1 or the first one is actually out of print on Blu-ray. I don't see it available on here, and I also noticed it wasn't really on Amazon, so that one's probably long gone. But I think that will be a definite buy. I think I'll buy like volume 2 of the film noir box set just to get a taste of what it has to offer. Here's another Robert Mitchum film, Foreign Intrigue.
Screen icon Robert Mitchum
stars as a curious press agent who is determined to investigate the past of his enigmatic, very wealthy, and recently murdered employer.
And that's as far as we're gonna get. Gorky Park. I've heard of that before. I like the cover. Directed by Michael Apted. Rest in peace. Recently passed, I think this year. I think in January. God, they have some weird titles. Like, does anyone remember Gone Fishing? When did this come out? They came out the year I was born. This is way newer than I thought it would be. Okay, if you were alive and you were at least 10 years old in 1997, do you remember Gone Fishing? Do you remember when this came out? Can you explain to me, what this film's impact was at the time of its release? Because I've never heard of it. They're only selling a DVD version of it, and it just seems like such a random movie. I mean, good on Kino Lorber for bringing it to physical media and, keeping these things alive. But my goodness, I've never heard of that in my life. This one looks pretty cool. I saw this one yesterday. I noticed a lot of Marlon Brando films in here too. This one has Marlon Brando and Jack Nicholson. That could be a good one. Blu-ray's a bit pricier though, and it doesn't interest me that much, honestly. But this one I am actually really interested in. The Naked Face with Roger Moore. It looks like, obviously he was still, I think this came out in 85 or 84. So he was still playing 007 at this point. And it's strange to see a Roger Moore starring action film from this era that is not a 007 film, because I've honestly only ever seen Roger Moore in a Bond film, honestly. That's only $5 and the cover's cool and it's Roger Moore, so I think that one might be instant cop. I really don't think I'm going to pass that one up. What is Night Angel?
I like this.
It looks intriguing. Pit Stop. I feel like I've heard about this film. It is a Roger Corman film. I'll skip over it. What is this called? The Psychopath. Mother May I Go Out to Kill. I love horror, I love thrillers, I love mystery, I love giallos. This kind of gives me a bit of a giallo vibe. I'll add it to the cart, see what it has in store for us. Queen of Blood, I'll add it to the cart. Here's River's Edge, unfortunately, like I said, DVD only as availability right now. If this one comes back into print, or if you run into it somewhere for an affordable price, definitely pick up River's Edge. Check that one out, it's a great film. Star Crystal. Okay, I can probably skip Star Crystal. Alright, we're on the last page here of this. Anything Catch My Eye, a Robert Mitchum Western for $5. Add it to the cart, let's see what Letterboxd has to say. That's where we're at right now. Okay, let's move on to the March Madness.
Hey, are you enjoying this video? Well, if you are, You should go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell as well to be notified whenever lukemick posts a new video. You can also find lukemick on Letterboxd, where he oftentimes writes reviews or logs the movies that he's been watching. And if you want channel updates, you can also go to his lukemick YouTube Instagram page, where he provides updates for the channel and just posts other weird, goofy pictures and things like that. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, just follow the instructions, links for everything are down below, and enjoy the rest of this
video.
Everybody.
Now, this is the actual sale that Kino, I know for a fact, is advertising. These have newer films in it, I'm sure. Films that probably are not going out of print. Let's take a peek-see here. I saw this one last night. I didn't watch it, but I saw it while looking through the sale, and it sounds like a fun British mystery murder type thing, so I'm gonna add that one to the cart. Fuck another Stakeout. Fuck this movie. This is the thing, like Kino Lorber, this is what I mean when I see that they have like really mediocre, completely forgettable comedies from, when did this come out? 1987? Or no, 1993. This movie, I used to buy a lot of Blu-rays at Pawn America. I would, that's where I'd get a lot of deals when I was first buying films. You'd find a lot of good stuff at pawn shops, right? And the thing is, like, I don't know where they got them all, but they had like 100 copies of Another Stakeout. There were so many. I think it was an older Mill Creek release. You couldn't scroll through 6 movies without coming across Another Stakeout. Burt Lancaster, I watched in The Swimmer a few months ago. I had never seen him in a film before, and I know that role was very different and very disarming for him. So I'm curious to see how he had established himself as an actor up until The Swimmer, because The Swimmer was a wonderful film and his performance was fantastic on so many levels. The Appaloosa with Marlon Brando and John Saxon, my man. If it's got John Saxon, it goes in the cart. I love that man. I was so bummed out to hear that he passed away last, was it March or April? He was an old man, lived a good life, but I love that guy. Baby Blood. It's a French horror movie. It looks like a horror movie to me. It's going in the cart. A Bay of Blood. I have the Arrow video release of this film, so no need to grab this. I know that Kino Lorber has the rights, the distribution rights to a lot of the Mario Bava films for Region A, and I'm pretty hesitant to buy them from Kino as opposed to Arrow, just because I have way more Arrow. I have so many, and I love the work they do. I love their packaging, the alternate artwork, their special features are always top-notch. I'm always going to be picking the Arrow video over a lot of other boutique labels if I have the option. This sounds really, really interesting, The Black Gestapo. It looks like a sort of like Nazi, anti-Nazi blaxploitation film. I'm going to add it to the cart because that sounds really cool. Yeah, like so many of these movies, I look at them and I'm like, oh, Bruce Willis is in this movie. Never heard of it though. It seems like these are all just really like hidden, completely forgotten, buried in time movies that famous people or famous directors or writers were involved with, and they're just coming to Blu-ray through Kino Lorber. John Saxon in Cannibal Apocalypse, that's in the cart. The Deadly Trap with Faye Dunaway. I saw Faye Dunaway in a film that I think Mill Creek released last summer, and I liked her in the film a lot. It was The Eyes of Laura Palmer. Wait, is that what it's called? It's not a Twin Peaks thing. The Eyes of Laura Mars. What a mix-up. I mean, it's a fair mix-up on my part, but The Eyes of Laura Mars. It's actually written by John Carpenter before he was directing movies. I'm pretty sure it was before he directed Assault on Precinct 13. Maybe it was after. I can't remember. But it's also directed by someone who is moderately famous too. And that film was okay. It had a really bad ending, but it had Brad Dourif and Tommy Lee Jones in it as well. If Brad Dourif's in it, I'm all in. Okay, here are the film noir sets. I don't have any preference over the 3 that are available, so I'll just get the oldest one first in case it ever goes out of print. I'd assume they go out of print in the order in which they came out. This is a must-add, at least to look into. It stars Nicolas Cage. A Nicolas Cage film I've never heard of. Filmworker, what is this? That looks like Stanley Kubrick. Now remember, I'm adding all this stuff to the cart. I am not buying all this stuff. Keep that in mind. There is no way. The Good Son. Is this the Macaulay Culkin one where he's like plays two kids, like they're twin brothers or something? Like there's a good one and an evil one. If that's it, then that's hilarious. Add to cart. I've seen the end of that film on HBO a long time ago. I must have been like 12 years old or something. Yeah, that sounds like a classic. Here's another Mario Bava film, Hatchet for the Honeymoon. He has got the best titles and covers too. This is a really cool looking cover. That's being added. I don't. Maybe that one's available through Arrow Video. I don't know. I'll have to check. If it's not, I'll consider grabbing it here. I'm almost out of tea here, and it's getting a little cold. When I'm looking through like Criterion, through their sales, and looking at their entire inventory, or Arrow, or those I guess are the two big ones. I usually know what at least 50% of those films are, just because they like to stick with certain directors and release a lot of director films. But these, my goodness, I don't know what like 90% of these movies are. Probably even 95%. It's crazy. Really a shot in the dark here. Well, this one's directed by Martin Scorsese. It's also $14. I don't want to spend that much money on something random right now. Let's keep moving. Can't scroll past Lost Highway and not mention and recommend it. If you like David Lynch, you'll probably like Lost Highway. I'd compare it most to Mulholland Drive and Twin Peaks: The Return. As far as the ambiguity goes, very similar to those two films. The Man Who Haunted Himself. Sounds pretty interesting. Does that say Roger Moore? Roger Moore with a mustache? Alright. It's in the cart. You can't pass up mustached Roger Moore. How could you ever do that? This looks terrible. Maybe it's not. I'm sorry if I offended anybody who likes The Minion out there. Okay, I'm always going to be drawn to the horror stuff. Nightmare Beach. Ooh, and it's Umberto Lenzi. I've been watching some Lenzi films lately. One of his most recent Blu-ray releases is Vinegar Syndrome's new release of Hitcher in the Dark. And that film was fun in its own shitty way. So very interested in more Lenzi films. The Oblong Box. Vincent Price and Christopher Lee. Add to cart. Omega Syndrome. That's got a crazy cover. Add to cart. Is that Donald Sutherland? Add to cart. Wow, look at that young Don Johnson. That looks pretty sappy to me. I'm gonna have to pass on that one. Playing God, that looks like David Duchovny, Timothy Hutton, and Angelina Jolie. That seems very 90s. It's $6. Add it to the cart, read about it a little bit, and probably decide that it's not worth my time and not buy it. This one sounds really interesting. It stars Malcolm McDowell, and I love the title, The Raging Moon. Let's add that to the cart. That looks really interesting. Ah, yes, Revenge of the Ninja. Some Sho Kosugi. I recently watched Sho Kosugi in not Pray for Death. I didn't like that film very much, but Rage of Honor, both of which are released on Arrow Video, but I think they're both out of print now, which sucks, because I would really recommend Rage of Honor. That movie was super fun. What's this? Another Donald Sutherland, The Rosary Murders, a serial killer. If it's about a serial killer, I'm interested, but, that one could end up being really generic. I don't know. God, I'm getting kind of exhausted looking through this, honestly. Thank goodness we're almost to the end. This is a lot of stuff to look at that I'm not familiar with. If any of you have suggestions, by the way, as to films that I should have not just skipped over like it was nothing, like if you have personal favorite Kino Lorber releases, please let me know what you would suggest down below, because it's honestly super overwhelming looking at so many films that I don't recognize at all. Like, I don't even know where to start in figuring out which ones are worth checking out and which ones aren't. So if you have favorites, please do let me know down below, because I am not a Kino Lorber master by any means at all. Oh, here's an Alex Cox film, Straight to Hell Director's Cut. Alex Cox directed Repo Man. That one's in the Criterion Collection and stars Emilio Estevez and Harry Dean Stanton. I reviewed that film last August, I think, on the channel. Maybe I'll link that video in here somewhere. Another Roger Moore film, an Italian Roger Moore film, directed by Maurizio Lucidi, or Lucidi. Is that how you would say that last name? Maybe not. That is going into the cart. That sounds awesome. Okay, does Kino Lorber own this Palisades Tartan video line? Because I've seen a couple of these now. This is on sale. I guess it's not technically a Kino Lorber release, but this is a really great Park Chan-wook film that's in the same thematic trilogy as Oldboy. It's the first film in that trilogy, Oldboy being the second, and it has Song Kang-ho in it, and it's a really twisted, effed up revenge movie that, if you like Oldboy, then you'll like that movie. So I'd recommend that one if that sounds up your alley. I think we're on the last page here. We are. This one looks fun. You gotta love Rutger Hauer. Add it to the cart, check it out. The Whisperers. That's a cool cover. Very Bergman-esque cover. What language is it? It's an English film. Came out in 1967. I don't recognize any of the actors. And do I know Brian Forbes? Let's do a little bit of Oh, okay. Brian Forbes directs The Naked Face and The Raging Moon. Two of the films I'm honestly really interested in grabbing. Since I already have these ones in the cart, I may as well add The Whisperers. And that's pretty much everything. Okay. Who wants to take a peek at the oh my god! 52 items in this shopping cart. This is just disgusting. I can guarantee you that by the end of this, there will be less than 15 items in this cart. It's a shame, it'll be sad to have to cut the string on a bunch of these movies, but, if I put any of these in the cart that any of you know about, and by the end of this, when I make my actual haul video and it's not in the haul and you're like, why didn't you buy that one? You should have. Let me know. Yeah, so now I have a lot of work to do. I have to look through all these and figure out which ones I want to keep in the cart and which ones I want to get rid of. Since I got such a strong response on the Criterion shopping video I posted last month, I probably will do my haul video separate from this one so you can all see what I ended up buying, because it seems like a lot of people wanted to see that, which makes sense. I would want to see that too if I were watching somebody's shopping video like this. So I'll do that. You can keep your eye out for that and just rest easy knowing that it will be coming. Let me know down below what you bought during the sale, if you did buy anything, or just please do tell me which films you think are worth looking into in the Kino Lorber line, because I clearly have no clue what I'm doing here, okay? Usually I'm pretty well versed in what I'm looking at, and I have an idea as to what I want when I go into it, but with this, I'm just like, Roger Moore? Why not, all right? John Saxon? Sold, okay? That's kind of where I'm at with this. So that's all I have for this video. I want to thank you all for watching. As always, I could not do it without all of you. Thank you for sticking around to the very end of this video. If you hear me talking to you right now, I appreciate you very much. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you later.